Have you ever felt that the more you give, the less you are truly seen? Perhaps your energy is being pulled in 1,000 directions, leaving you empty for the people who matter most. Today, the world demands our constant attention through notifications and endless news. We are busy, yet we do not feel at peace. The philosopher Seneca wrote about this 2,000 years ago. He observed that while we are careful with our money, we are often wasteful with our time. Seneca taught that we must reclaim ourselves for ourselves. For example, imagine a mother named Mary. She is at dinner with her family, but her mind is trapped in a hurtful conversation from yesterday. This is a fictional illustration, but it is a reality many of us face. This video explores 5 Stoic lessons to help you guard your time. I invite you to stay with us as we share a simple 7-day plan for inner quiet. If you are ready to protect your heart, please type in the comments, "I am guarding my peace." I am guarding my peace. The first lesson begins with an ancient and beautiful concept called the hearth. In Stoic philosophy, this is known as the principle of the circles of concern. The Stoics taught that our lives are like a series of concentric circles. The very first circle at the center is our own mind and our character. The next circle contains our immediate family, our children, our spouses, and our closest companions. They called this inner circle the hearth. It represents the place of warmth, safety, and our most sacred duties. The Stoics believed that we must attend to these inner circles with all our strength before we ever try to fix the world outside. If our own character is weak, or if our family is neglected, we cannot hope to find a tranquil flow of life. In our modern world, this principle is very difficult to follow. We carry the entire world in our pockets through our phones and our devices. We feel a constant, heavy pressure to be available to everyone at all times. When the phone rings or a notification arrives, many of us feel a deep sense of guilt if we do not answer immediately. We have been trained to think that being responsive is a virtue. However, this has led to a strange and painful situation. We have become digitally present for strangers who do not know us, while becoming mentally absent for the people sitting right next to us. For many of us in our later years, this creates a quiet, lingering sadness. We may find ourselves scrolling through the opinions and arguments of people we have never met, while our own grandchildren are waiting for us to look up and tell them a story. We are losing our focus on the hearth because the noise of the outside world has become so loud. To understand this struggle better, let us look at a fictional illustration that may feel very familiar. Imagine a grandmother named Margaret. She has not seen her young grandson in many months. They have finally found the time to sit down for a quiet dinner together. Margaret is happy, and she feels a sense of warmth in her heart. But then, her phone pings on the table. A distant acquaintance has sent a message complaining about a news story or a political debate happening miles away. For a split second, Margaret feels the urge to look. She feels she must know what is happening. In that 1 second, her mind leaves the dinner table. She is no longer looking at her grandson's smile or hearing his small voice. She is wandering in a distant world of noise and anger. If she picks up that phone, she has traded a priceless, non-renewable moment for a trivial distraction. She has allowed the outer circle to break into the hearth. This is how we lose our lives. One small interruption at a time. The Stoics had a powerful way to deal with this scattered energy. Marcus Aurelius was the leader of the Roman Empire. which was perhaps the busiest and most demanding job in history. Yet, he often wrote in his private journal about the need for total focus on the present moment. He did not want to be a man whose mind was pulled in 1,000 directions by the demands of others. Marcus Aurelius taught that we should approach every single task as if it were the most important thing we would ever do. He reminded himself that being a good person starts with being fully present right where you are. Marcus Aurelius wrote these words to himself: "Concentrate every minute like a Roman, like a man, on doing what is in front of you with precise and genuine seriousness, tenderly, willingly, with justice." He was telling himself that the world will always have demands, but your duty is to the person or the task directly in front of you. He believed that if you are not present for the small duties of the hearth, you will never have the character to handle the large duties of the world. This lesson is especially important to apply when you are facing the challenges of family conflict or the heavy path of caregiving. Many of our viewers are caring for a spouse who is ill, or perhaps you are navigating a difficult relationship with an adult child. In these moments, it is very easy to overthink. You may find yourself worrying about what the neighbors think or what other family members are saying behind your back. During these times, the Stoics would tell you to come back to the hearth. Ask yourself, what is my duty to this person right now? Is my attention focused on their comfort and their dignity? Or am I wandering in the noise of the horizon by choosing to be unavailable to the gossip, the judgment, or the useless news of the day? You find the strength to be truly available for your loved ones. You are not being cold by putting your phone away. You are being faithful to those who truly matter. Now, let us try a simple practical exercise together. We call this the sacred table. Today, or perhaps this evening, choose one meal that you will eat with another person, or even by yourself, for exactly 30 minutes. Place all electronic devices, including your phone and your tablet, in a completely different room. Turn the sound off. Close the door to that room for these 30 minutes. Your only world is the table in front of you. If you are with a loved one, give them 100% of your eyes and your ears. Listen to the sound of their voice. Notice the details of the conversation. If you are eating alone, enjoy the taste of your food and the quiet of your own thoughts. Let the silence be your companion. For 30 minutes, the world outside does not exist. The distant news cannot reach you. You are guarding the hearth. You are reclaiming your life. This practice may feel uncomfortable at first. You might worry that you are missing something important. But as the Stoics taught, the most important thing is always the thing you are doing right now. By guarding these small windows of time, you build a sanctuary that no one can take away from you. You will find that when you return to the world, you do so with more patience and more wisdom. You are no longer a slave to every notification. You are the master of your own attention. Please take a moment to share your commitment with our community of listeners. It helps us all feel less alone in this journey. Type in the comments, "I am present for those I love. I am present for those I love." The core of a peaceful life rests upon a single, powerful foundation known as the discipline of choice. It is the art of acting as a gatekeeper for your own mind. Imagine your mind is a beautiful, quiet home. The discipline of choice is the sturdy lock on the front door. This principle teaches us that every single thing we encounter in our day, from a neighbor's comment to a global news headline, falls into one of two categories. It is either something we can control, or it is something we cannot. The Stoics tell us that our energy is a sacred and limited resource. We must decide, with great intention, what deserves the gift of our attention and what should be labeled as indifferent. To the Stoic, an indifferent thing is not necessarily something that does not matter at all, but it is something that should not have the power to disturb our internal weather. We choose what we value. We choose what we let inside. We choose which battles are worth our spirit and which ones we should simply let pass by like clouds on the horizon. This is not about being cold or unfeeling. It is about being wise with the life we have left. It is about understanding that our peace is our property, and we have the absolute right to decide who and what is allowed to step onto that property. In our modern world, applying this discipline has become harder than ever before. For those of us who have lived many decades, the world can feel much louder than it used to be. We are constantly surrounded by what we might call the noise of the horizon. In the past, if someone across town was angry with us, we might not hear about it for days. Today, we carry the world's opinions in our pockets. We find ourselves dwelling on old betrayals that happened years ago, or worrying about the state of a world that seems to be changing too fast to recognize there is a deep, modern urge to fix everything. We feel a heavy sense of responsibility to correct every misunderstanding and to respond to every piece of news. This is especially true in our relationships with family or old friends. We often find ourselves overthinking a sharp word from a child or a cold look from a peer. We feel that if we just think about it long enough, or if we explain ourselves one more time, we can fix the noise. But the noise of the world is infinite, and our time is not. The modern world is designed to steal our focus, making us believe that everything is an emergency. It pulls us away from the present moment and drags us toward a horizon of worries that we cannot touch and cannot change. To see how this looks in our daily lives, let us look at a fictional illustration involving a man named James. James is 72 years old and has been retired for several years. He lives in a quiet house with a beautiful porch where he likes to drink his morning coffee. However, for the last 3 days, James has not noticed the taste of his coffee or the sound of the birds. Instead, his mind is back in his old office. He recently received a short, dismissive email from a former colleague who was always a bit difficult. The email was unnecessary and unkind. James has spent his entire morning sitting at his computer, typing and then deleting long, angry responses. He is rehearsing arguments in his head while he brushes his teeth. He is explaining his worth to a person who is not even in the room. James is giving his most precious resource, his life, to a ghost from his past. He is allowing a few sentences on a screen to steal the peace of his golden years. He believes he is defending his honor, but in reality, he is simply handing over the keys to his kingdom to someone who does not care about him. James is looking at the horizon of the past, and in doing so, he is missing the beauty of the morning that is right in front of him. When we analyze James's situation, we see a mistake that many of us make. We are often very careful with our physical belongings. We lock our cars, and we check our bank statements. But we are strangely careless with our time and our mental energy. The great Stoic teacher Seneca noticed this exact human flaw nearly 2,000 years ago. He observed that we are thrifty with our money, but wasteful with our time, which is the only thing we can never get back. Seneca wrote the following words: "No person hands out their money to passers-by. But how many do each of us hand out our lives? We are tight-fisted with property and fortune, yet we are most extravagant when it comes to wasting time. The one thing about which it is right to be greedy." These words remind us that our time is our life. When you give 20 minutes of your morning to being angry at someone on the news, you are handing them 20 minutes of your existence. You are being extravagant with a treasure that is slowly running out. It is right to be greedy with your peace. It is right to say that your soul is too expensive to be bought by a rude comment or a family disagreement. Whether you are a person of deep faith who sees time as a gift from God, or a person who simply values the dignity of a life well lived, you must recognize that your energy is your own. To help you reclaim this energy, there is a very specific and practical exercise you can start today. It is called the 24-hour filter. This is a tool to use whenever you feel the noise of the horizon starting to pull at you. Apply this when you receive a message that upsets you, when you hear a piece of news that makes you anxious, or when you feel the sting of a family betrayal. When that surge of frustration hits, you must make a firm agreement with yourself. You will wait exactly 24 hours before you give that situation any of your energy. You do not respond. You do not rehearse the argument. You simply put it on a shelf. During those 24 hours, you ask yourself one simple question: will this matter in 5 years? If the answer is no, then you must decide that it does not deserve your peace today. By waiting 24 hours, you allow your emotions to settle and your wisdom to take the lead. You are practicing the discipline of choice by refusing to react instantly. You are telling the world that you are the master of your own time. This small act of waiting creates a space where your dignity can grow. It allows you to stay present for the people who actually love you and the tasks that actually fulfill you. Starting tomorrow morning, give yourself the gift of the filter. If something knocks on the door of your mind and tries to disturb you, tell it to wait. Tell it that your peace is not for sale today. My peace is not for sale. My peace is not for sale. The next part of our journey focuses on the specific moments when these principles are tested most. It is one thing to study philosophy in a quiet room, but it is another to live it when your heart is heavy. We will look at 2 situations that many in our community face. The first is the pain of betrayal. The second is the long, quiet path of caring for a loved one. The first situation is when you feel betrayed by a friend, a family member, or a colleague you once trusted. The Stoic principle for this moment is the preservation of your own character. The Stoics taught that the only things that can truly be harmed in this life are your soul and your virtue. When someone is unkind to you, or when they speak untruths behind your back, they are choosing their own character. They are hurting themselves by losing their integrity, but they cannot hurt your character unless you allow their actions to change who you are. If you become bitter, angry, or vengeful, then you have allowed them to reach inside your mind and change you. The Stoics believed that your peace is found in knowing that you remain a good person, regardless of how others behave. In our modern world, this is incredibly difficult to practice. Technology and social media make it very easy to stay connected to the people who have hurt us. We may find ourselves checking their profiles, looking at their photos, or rereading old messages. We look for a reason for their behavior. We want an apology that may never come. This keeps the wound open. We often feel that if we do not respond or if we do not defend ourselves, we are losing. We feel a pressure to win the argument or to make sure everyone knows the truth. This overthinking consumes our days and robs us of our dignity. We are giving our precious time to a ghost from the past, while our present life is waiting to be lived. To see this clearly, let's use a fictional illustration. Imagine a man named Robert. He is 65 years old and has recently retired. He discovers that a close friend of 30 years has told a lie about him to their social circle. Robert is deeply hurt. He feels a burning desire to call everyone and explain his side. He wants to disappear from the group to make them feel guilty. Every morning, he wakes up and immediately thinks about the betrayal. He is not enjoying his retirement. He is not enjoying his garden. He is living in a mental prison built by someone else's mistake. Robert thinks he is protecting his reputation, but he is actually destroying his own peace. The Stoics offered a different way. They believed that your reputation is in the hands of others and is therefore outside of your control. What is in your control is how you respond right now. Marcus Aurelius faced many betrayals as an emperor, including from his own generals. He reminded himself that the best way to handle an enemy is to be nothing like them. He wrote these words in his journal: "The best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury." Marcus Aurelius was teaching us that if someone is dishonest, our best response is to be even more honest. If someone is cruel, your best response is to be even kinder to the people who still deserve your love. You do not withdraw to punish them. You withdraw to protect your own heart from becoming like theirs. You are not losing a friend. You are reclaiming your energy for people who actually value you. Step number 1 for healing from betrayal is a practice we call the character mirror. Set aside 15 minutes today in a quiet space. Take a piece of paper and write down 3 qualities that you value most in yourself. Perhaps they are honesty, kindness, or loyalty. Then, look at the situation with the person who hurt you. Ask yourself, if I continue to be angry, or if I try to get revenge, am I still acting with these 3 qualities? If the answer is no, then let the anger go, not because they deserve it, but because you deserve to keep your integrity. Do this for 15 minutes every time the memory returns. It will help you stay grounded in who you are. Please share this commitment with us. Type in the comments, "My character is my own." My character is my own. The second situation is the long and often lonely journey of caring for a loved one. Whether you are caring for a spouse with an illness or a parent who is aging, the Stoic principle here is the beauty of duty. The Stoics called this officium. They believed that we are all part of a larger human family and that fulfilling our roles with love and patience is the highest form of virtue. They taught that we are like actors in a play. We do not choose our roles. We do not choose the script. But we can choose to play our parts with great dignity and care. This is very difficult in a world that celebrates travel, freedom, and constant excitement. When you are a caregiver, your world becomes very small. You may feel that life is passing you by. You might see photos of friends on vacation or enjoying their retirement while you are at home, performing difficult and repetitive tasks. It is easy to feel a sense of regret or even a quiet resentment. You might feel that you have become unavailable to the world and that you have been forgotten. The isolation can feel like a heavy weight on your shoulders. Consider this fictional illustration of a woman named Sarah. Sarah spends every day caring for her husband. who can no longer remember her name. She rarely leaves the house. She misses her old life. She feels like she is disappearing. But the Stoic perspective would tell Sarah that she is not disappearing. She is doing the most important work a human being can do. She is practicing the virtues of patience, courage, and unconditional love. While the rest of the world is busy chasing trivial things, Sarah is standing at the center of what it means to be human. Her unavailability to the outside world is not a loss. It is a profound and sacred choice. She is exactly where she is meant to be. The philosopher Epictetus was born into slavery and lived a life of many restrictions. He understood what it felt like to have your choices limited by circumstances. He taught that our happiness depends on accepting the role we have been given and performing it well. Epictetus wrote these words, "Remember that you are an actor in a play, the character of which is determined by the playwright. If he wishes you to play a beggar, play it well. If a cripple, a public official, or a private citizen, the same. For this is your business, to act well the given part, but to choose it belongs to another." Epictetus was not saying we should be passive. He was saying that when life gives us a difficult duty, our dignity is found in how we meet that duty. When you care for a loved one, you are performing a role of great honor. Step number 2 for the caregiver is a practice called the anchor of meaning. Twice a day, once in the morning and once in the evening. Take 3 minutes for yourself. Close your eyes and breathe slowly. Say to yourself, "I am here because I am needed. I am here because I love. This is my duty, and I will do it with grace." This small practice takes only 3 minutes, but it serves as an anchor. It reminds you that your life has a deep and powerful purpose, even in the quietest moments. It helps you see that you are not trapped, you are serving. If you are walking this path, we want you to know that you are seen and respected. Please join us in this affirmation. Type in the comments, "I find strength in my duty. I find strength in my duty," to bring all of these ancient ideas into your daily life. We move now to the principle of Stoic training. The Stoics believed that philosophy is not just a collection of beautiful words to be read. They believed it was a discipline to be practiced. Much like an athlete trains their body for a race, this training is called ascesis. It is the deliberate effort to build a sanctuary within your own mind so that you are not easily shaken by the storms of life. A sanctuary is a place of safety and quiet. The Stoics taught that we must build this inner citadel stone by stone through small, daily choices, without a practice plan. Even the wisest thoughts can be lost in the noise of a single busy afternoon. In our modern world, having a plan for our peace is harder than ever. We are living through a crisis of distraction. Everything around us is designed to pull us away from ourselves. Our phones, the news, and even our social obligations create a constant state of urgency. Many of us feel that if we are not busy, we are not useful. We feel that if we are not constantly checking on others or responding to every demand, we are failing in our duties. This makes it almost impossible to sit quietly or to think deeply. We want to be calm, and we want to be strong, but we do not know where to start. We are like builders who have all the materials but no blueprint. Without a clear path to follow, we remain scattered and tired. Let us look at a fictional illustration of a man named William. William is 70 years old and lives alone. He spends most of his day watching the news and worrying about the state of the world. He feels a deep sense of anxiety. He also feels a bit forgotten by his family because they are all very busy. William wants to find his peace again, but the world feels too loud. He decides to follow a simple 7-day plan to reclaim his focus. On the first day, he feels uncomfortable. By the third day, he notices that his breathing is slower. By the 7th day, William realizes that he does not need the world's permission to be happy. He has built a small sanctuary in his own home and his own mind. He is no longer a victim of the news. He is a man who has reclaimed his dignity through a simple, steady practice. The Stoics understood that the mind must be trained every single day. Epictetus was a great teacher who survived many hardships. He taught his students that change does not happen by accident. He believed that we must decide what kind of person we want to be, and then take the small steps to get there. Epictetus taught these words to his followers. First, say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do. This means that we do not wait for the world to become quiet. We create the quiet within ourselves by choosing our actions with care. By following a structured plan, we are telling ourselves that our peace is worth the effort. We are moving from being a person who reacts to the world to being a person who chooses their life. Now, we invite you to join us in a 7-day journey. We call this the Sanctuary Plan. It is designed specifically to help you filter the noise and return to the heart. Please listen carefully to each step. You may wish to write these down or listen to this section again. Step number 1 is the day of the hearth. Today, your only goal is to identify 3 people who truly matter to you. These are the people in your inner circle. Write their names on a piece of paper. For the next week, these 3 people will receive your best energy. Everyone else will receive what is left over. By naming them, you are deciding who deserves the privilege of your attention. Step number 2 is the day of silence. For this entire day, turn off all notifications on your phone that do not come from your 3 hearth people. If a news alert or a social media update arrives, let it wait. You are practicing being unavailable to the noise. Notice how much lighter you feel when you are not being interrupted by strangers. Step number 3 is the day of the morning anchor. Tomorrow, spend 15 minutes in total silence as soon as you wake up. Do not turn on the television. Do not check your messages. Use these 15 minutes to simply breathe and be present in your own home. Remind yourself that this day is a gift on loan. Step number 4 is the day of the gentle no. Today, your practice is to say no to one social obligation or one request that drains your energy. You do not need to be angry or rude. Simply say, I cannot do that at this time. This is a small way of guarding your time. It is a way of showing yourself that your energy is finite and precious. Step number 5 is the day of returning. Spend 20 minutes today reflecting on a past regret or a hurtful memory that has been stealing your peace. In your mind, imagine yourself placing that memory in a box and returning it to the past. It no longer belongs to you. The Stoics taught that the past is outside our control. Today, you are letting it go so that you can live in the present. Step number 6 is the day of connection. Today, reach out to one person from your hearth. Give them 30 minutes of your full, undivided attention. Do not have the television on in the background. Do not look at your phone. Simply listen to them. Feel the warmth of a real, deep connection. This is why you are guarding your time. Step number 7 is the day of the audit. Look back at your week. Ask yourself, what felt better? Which moments brought me peace? Which habits were the hardest to keep? This is not about being perfect. It is about learning where your energy goes. Use this day to decide which of these practices you will keep for the next month. If you are facing a difficult time right now, perhaps a conflict in your home or a feeling of deep overthinking, apply this plan even more strictly. When the mind is in pain, it needs the structure of a sanctuary. This 7-day plan is not a magic cure, but it is a way to prove to yourself that you still have power over your own life. You are deciding what is allowed to enter your mind and what is kept outside the walls. You are building your inner citadel, stone by stone. We encourage you to start this journey today. You do not need to wait for a Monday or a new month. Start right now by identifying your hearth. We would be honored to hear that you are joining us. Please share this commitment with our community. Type in the comments, "I am building my inner sanctuary." I am building my inner sanctuary. By writing these words, you are making a promise to yourself. You are choosing to be present for what is essential and gracefully unavailable to what is not. Remember, your peace is a sanctuary that you build with your own hands. Be patient with yourself. Be steady in your practice. And be well. The final lesson in our journey toward a calmer mind is the practice of a daily routine. The Stoics believed that for a person to maintain their longevity of mind, they must have a structure for their day. They did not leave their peace to chance. Instead, they treated the morning and the evening as sacred boundaries. They viewed the morning as a time of preparation, when we arm our minds for the challenges ahead. They viewed the evening as a time of reflection, when we review our actions and find peace before sleep. This 2-part routine acts like a frame around a painting. It keeps the noise of the world from smearing the colors of our character. By starting and ending the day with intention, we ensure that we are leading our lives rather than simply reacting to them. In our modern life, these boundaries have almost completely disappeared. For many of us, the very first thing we do in the morning is reach for our phones or turn on the news. Before we have even taken a full breath, the world has already entered our minds. We are flooded with the problems of distant nations, the opinions of strangers, and the demands of our inbox. We start our day in a state of defense, feeling behind before we have even begun. At night, the problem is often the opposite. We carry the stress of the day into our beds. We replay old arguments in our heads. We worry about our children or our health. We stay awake, staring at the ceiling, wondering if we did enough, because we have no routine to close the day. Our minds remain in a state of noise, and our rest is never deep. Let us look at a fictional illustration of a man named Thomas. Thomas is 68 years old and lives a quiet life. For years, he woke up and immediately turned on the radio to hear the morning news. By the time he sat down for breakfast, he was already feeling angry or worried about things he could not control. His entire day was colored by that early morning noise. At night, Thomas would lie in bed and worry about a conflict he had with his brother 10 years ago. He felt tired, but he could not sleep. One day, Thomas decided to try the Stoic routine. He began his morning in silence, choosing one small task to focus on. At night, he began to review his day with kindness. Slowly, Thomas noticed that his days felt longer and his nights felt shorter. He was no longer a victim of the world's schedule. He had reclaimed his time. The Stoics were very clear about the importance of this daily audit. Seneca was a man who lived a very busy life in the Roman government. Yet he never missed his evening reflection. He believed that we must be like a gentle judge to ourselves. We do not review our day to punish ourselves for our mistakes, but to learn from them. Seneca understood that sleep is much sweeter when the mind is clear of its burdens. He taught that we should wait until the house is quiet to look back at our words and our actions. Seneca wrote these words about his own nightly habit. When the light has been removed from my sight, and my wife, who is aware of my habit, has become silent, I make a survey of my whole day and let my actions and words pass in review. He believed that this practice allowed him to wake up the next morning with a fresh and eager spirit. This routine is especially helpful to apply when you are feeling overwhelmed by overthinking or when you are struggling with a sense of regret. If you find yourself constantly thinking about what you should have said or what you should have done, the evening review gives you a designated time to handle those thoughts. Instead of letting them haunt you all day, you tell yourself, I will address this during my review. This allows you to stay present in your hearth during the day. When the review is over, you decide to leave those thoughts on the paper and go to sleep. You are practicing the Stoic art of letting go, which is essential for the longevity of your mental health. Now, we invite you to begin this simple two-part routine. It does not require much time, but it requires your consistency. Step number 1 is the morning preparation. Before you touch your phone and before you turn on any news, ask yourself one question. What is my one essential task today? This should not be a long list of chores. It should be one thing that reflects your character. Perhaps it is being patient with a difficult family member. Perhaps it is finishing a project you started. Or perhaps it is simply taking a walk in nature. Write this one task down on a small piece of paper. Do not allow the world to enter your mind until you have set this intention. This gives you a sense of control and purpose from the moment you wake up. Step number 2 is the evening review. Before you go to sleep, take 5 minutes to sit quietly. Ask yourself 3 simple questions. Where did I give my energy away too easily today? What did I do well, and how can I guard my peace better tomorrow? If you made a mistake, acknowledge it. Forgive yourself, and decide how to improve. Then, take a deep breath and tell yourself that the day is finished. By doing this, you are closing the door on the past. You are emptying your mind so that you can rest deeply. This 5-minute practice will change the quality of your sleep and the quality of your soul. We encourage you to try this for just 3 days. Notice the difference in your morning heart and your evening rest. You deserve a mind that is a sanctuary, not a storm. By following this routine, you are telling yourself that your peace is a priority. You are practicing the wisdom of the Stoics in the most practical way possible. You are reclaiming your life, one morning and one evening at a time. As we conclude this lesson, we invite you to join our community in a final commitment. This affirmation helps to anchor your mind as you go about your day. Please share these words with us. Type in the comments, I own my morning and my rest. I own my morning and my rest. By writing this, you are claiming your power over your own attention. You are deciding that the world may be loud, but your heart will remain quiet. Thank you for walking this path with us today. May your morning be purposeful, and may your rest be deep. Be well. As we conclude our time together, remember the story of Mary from the beginning of our journey. By choosing to silence the noise of the world, she was finally able to hear the voices of those she loved at her own dinner table. She found that silence is not about being cold. It is about having a full heart, because it is no longer leaking. The most important lesson to carry with you today is this: being unavailable to the noise is the only way to be truly present for the light. To begin this journey, I encourage you to follow the 7-day sanctuary plan we discussed. Start tomorrow morning with your morning anchor. Spend 15 minutes in quiet. Set your one essential task. At night, review your day with kindness and let the past remain in the past. What is one small thing you will say no to this week to protect your heart? Perhaps it is a news alert, a social media app, or a draining conversation that no longer serves your character. Please share your commitment in the comments below. We would love to hear what you are reclaiming. If these reflections brought you comfort today, we invite you to join our community by subscribing and sharing this message with a friend who may be feeling overwhelmed. You are not alone on this path. The philosopher Seneca left us with these 4 simple words: reclaim yourself for yourself. Let us say that again. Reclaim yourself for yourself. Please take a moment to gon this final affirmation in the comments. I am reclaiming my peace. I am reclaiming my peace. These ideas are shared for reflection and personal growth, and they are not a substitute for professional mental health support. If you are going through something heavy, please reach out to someone you trust or a qualified professional. We respect all personal beliefs and invite you to reflect on these Stoic principles as a way to find your own inner sanctuary. Whatever your faith or your journey, may you find strength in the quiet. Be well.